So thank you everyone for hopping on tonight. Our guest speaker is Sandi Glandt. I keep wanting to call her Visnoff because she got married. So Sandi had joined me, I think it was the first week of November. It was right before I went to California, and we were talking about like all the new coach stuff as I was like traveling, and she like her business started booming the second she signed up. She like her very first week, I think she hit Emerald, but had like 5 coaches her first week. She just hit Diamond today. She is a rock, like knows so much about team building, recruiting. And tonight I'm really excited for you guys because she's going to share with you guys tips on that, as well as how to attract people to you and how she goes about expanding her network. So Sandi, you can go ahead if you want to introduce yourself some more, share us more about you, and then jump into your tips.
Okay, so hey guys, I'm so glad to be here tonight. It's been like a crazy day, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But just kind of a little bit of backstory on me. So Sam kind of found me actually through Instagram, and I was on my shedding for the wedding journey. I was like initially helping brides lose weight for their wedding, not lose weight, save money for their wedding. But I was like loving health and fitness, and I kind of transitioned from that into the health and fitness side because I was like, okay, like how can I lose weight? Like what are recipes I can post? So I was already super into it when Sam reached out. I was like, you know what, maybe this is like something I should try. So that being said, I was super excited to get started. Like I tell my coaches, I didn't even have my first challenge pack like in the mail to me before I was like jumping in the opportunity and ready to go. Like I was telling everybody I knew, I was just so excited to get started. So my first kind of tip for you guys is, I always tell Sam this, but my mindset, like even from the day that I started, was like, I am like physically in this moment of where I'm starting, but I'm like light years ahead of where I know I'm going to be, because it's just having that mindset and setting the mindset of like, this is where I'm going. And that when you're talking to coaches and you're sharing like your experience, whether you've been a coach for a day or for a year or 5 or 10 years, it doesn't matter. It's just how, for me, what drives me is my need to help people. And when I see my coaches tell me their stories about the success that they've had, and how it's changed their lives and the people around them, like that's what really motivates and drives me. So like again, for me, it wasn't how long I was in the business. It was just like, I know where I'm going and I know where I want to be. And like, I set that mindset for myself. Okay. So a couple things for attracting people to you and to your business. So, has everybody read, Go for No? No? Okay. Yes. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Okay. So I was always afraid, just from like, I guess, like when you're in school and you don't do good, or, it's like you have just maybe things from your past that you're like, okay, this didn't work out, or I got no's, and like nobody likes rejection, right? So a big block for me was people telling me no. I was like, okay, maybe it's a personal thing. Maybe it's, something that like they don't want to join because this reason or that reason. Reading this book was a life-changing book because it kind of set me up to realize it wasn't, first of all, when someone tells you no, it's not a personal thing. It's because of something that's going on in their lives. And one of the things I always try and talk to a challenger about or a coach about is, what is their why? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to push them when it gets hard. That's going to drive them, motivate them when they're not seeing success or the little small successes every day. They're going to go back to that and realize that's why they're chugging along every day. So another thing with that being said is, I don't know if you heard of the 10X rule, but my husband, he's the vice president of this company, and kind of the concept of the 10X rule is any effort that you want to put out, you want to like 10 times the efforts that you're thinking that you need to put out. So like for me, I set a goal for myself that I want to get 5 coaches a week. if I think I want to get 5 coaches a week, and again, it kind of goes back to go for no, I'm going to go for like 200 no's in a month or in a week. Like I have to set the bar for myself at a level that's 10 times what I expect it to be. So essentially, you really want to, and I know this is hard like for a lot of people who work full-time jobs, but whatever your goal is for yourself, try and just maximize the efforts, but don't lose sight of the fact of what the goal is for your coaches. Here it comes now. I was just explaining the 10X rule. Thank you. Okay, so another thing that I have on here is, okay, let me see, because I have a whole page of notes. Okay, so, all right, so what you're doing each and every day, like I had a coach ask me today, like, what should I be doing? How can I move my business forward? Obviously, we all know the 3 vital behaviors. So every day, like I don't have something set up every day where it's like, I'm going to post about this, I'm going to post about that. Like I have a general idea, but as it naturally and authentically comes up, that's how I post and that's what I post about. Like in reading the books that I'm reading, or like if I'm talking to a coach about something that they need help with, that's how I come up with the content that I use to just talk about. I mean, we all don't live in a box, right? Like we're around people every day. I mean, for me, it's like I walk my dog in the park, I'm out at the grocery store, like whatever it is, like I'm constantly having conversations with people. Like I wore this hat to the bank the other day, was having a conversation about the hat and what Beachbody is. So like constantly just be talking about it. And like, for me, that's one way, other than like social media or people within my network, how I just naturally and authentically bring up the business. So whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis, just don't be scared of like, if it feels like too pitchy or too salesy, like it's going to come up in your natural day-to-day life. Like I walk my dog in the park and I talk to people. I'm like, so what do you do? And then I tell them what I do. So it really is just, it just comes up. I do a lot of networking events and I try and meet people that way as well. But a big way that I find people is through Instagram. I don't know if a lot of you guys are using Instagram or not, but hashtagging is huge. So I try to explain this to my coaches, and what I say when I mean hashtagging is not hashtagging your picture, like actively searching for people that are not in your, like, so whatever you're hashtagging, like say I would hashtag, like I did one today and it was like motivation, dedication, work from home, those things. I'm not necessarily searching for those. I'm going to search for people outside of what I'm posting, because if you have seen, it's super oversaturated by other companies and just like people in fitness that are searching the same hashtags over and over again. So I go for things that are a little bit outside the box. Like a great way to search for those things would be like when Sam was telling us about creating your avatar. So like whatever your list of those like 10, 15, 20 things are, like look for what that person would be searching for and have that conversation, because you already have that in common with that person. So again, the conversation is going to happen authentically and naturally. So you don't have to jump right into hey, like I'm, with Beachbody and this is an opportunity. Like again, make it come naturally and it's going to come up in a conversation. So that's my little bit about attracting people via social media. Another thing is on my notes that I have here is be inspiring. Like post about your journey and post about like why you got started and what Beachbody has done for you. Again, I feel like I'm so passionate about the business that I can't help like, posting whatever, my journey and how I got started and why I want to help people and just like that high that I get when I hear the successes of my coaches. So I posted something, I think it was yesterday, and it was a testimonial for one of my coaches. And it was like, and I don't know if we all know Shalene Johnson, but so I watch her. If you guys don't have Periscope, I highly recommend that you download the app and start using it. Either use it to watch people and like kind of take notes and see what they're doing, or try and do videos yourself, because you'll get a lot of followers that way too. I used to do a 5-minute fit tip, which I need to get back to. But So I was watching Chalene Johnson on Periscope, and she was talking about the power of a testimonial. And she was like, whether you have, one person or you've got 5, 10, 15, 100 people, like that testimonial is not you. It's not you like telling someone, this is my story. Like everyone sees who we are because we're constantly posting. But if you can reach out to maybe one of your challengers or someone that is a coach and they've started maybe day 1 and they're at day 21, or day 1 and they're at day 30 or 60, like have them share their experience and what they thought was, where they were when they started and like where they are now and what that journey has been for them. That's just another way to share about what the product and the program is doing for your coaches and for your, for your challengers. When it's not you specifically just saying, join me, join me, join me, it really is showing like, this is what it's done for somebody else. Obviously, another big one is be consistent. I feel like I'm reading so many books and getting them, they're all kind of meshing together. I think it was in The Compound Effect. They talk about the story of the well and how motivation is constantly like, you're going along and they give this story of the well and how, you're lowering this well down and it takes the effort to lower it down and then bring it back up and get this water. But imagine if you like halfway through, you drop it and look at Sam with the line. You drop it and you have to start all over again. Every time you have to start over again, you almost have to convince people again, like you're back on your journey, you're back doing whatever it is that you started with. And it's not as, I don't want to say convincing, but it's just not as, it's not true to like the message that you're trying to get across. So even like, and I tell myself this every day, like it's the little wins every single day, constantly over and over again, not like one huge win one day. Like this business, excuse me, as we all know, it's over time. So don't look at the big picture. Go for the small wins every day, whether it's a coach giving you awesome feedback about their challenge group, or getting a coach. Like I would feel like that's, a big one. So just be consistent and don't feel like you have to look for the big things every day. Try and go for those small wins each day. Okay, another big one is be yourself. I think a lot of coaches in this business, and I'm guilty of it, like when I first started, I was like, what are these like top coaches doing? Like maybe I should replicate what they're doing. So what I do is like every day I watch a training video of one of the top coaches because I want to know, like they've already gotten to where I know I'm going to get to, but I'm going to look to them for tips, but I'm going to be myself. Like I'm going to take what they're doing and I'm going to put it in my own spin on it. So don't feel like you have to look at these top coaches as like, I need to do exactly what they're doing and post exactly, what they're posting in that content. Like take it as you see it, but put your own spin on it and come up with your own ideas and ways to motivate people, because it really is like people are going to be drawn to you for you and what your special touch is, not because you're posting what someone else has posted. So really just make it authentic and be yourself. Okay, so let me go into, I guess it kind of crosses over because I was talking about attracting people to you. So now I'm going to go more into team building and recruiting, but I feel like it kind of all mixes together in a way. Okay, so let's talk, let me see here. All right, so spending time showing people the value of the products. Again, I kind of touched on this, but you can talk about, the benefits of your Shakeology. You can talk about, what 21 Day Fix has done for you. But again, go into really like, not like, hey, look, this is my bag of Shakeology, and like, don't you want to buy this because look how great it is. Like, you really want to go into the specifics of it and, again, why it's personal to you and what it's done for you, and share that story. How it can make their lives easier. Like for me, I'm super busy at lunch. I know a lot of coaches use it for like breakfast because they're super busy in the morning, but like, don't try and just sell someone on something because we're trying to like push a product. You want to be like, whenever I talk about Shakeology, I say, listen, tell me a little bit about your day. Like, if it's a busy mom, maybe her kids go down for a nap, but she's really busy around dinner time, or she really needs like that pick me up in the afternoon. That is solving a problem for her. So by you solving that problem, it's no longer about how much it costs, or, like this product costs this much, but then you get it discounted at this much. It's really solving a problem. And hey, if I can have a product that solves a problem for me that, gives me more energy and makes me more focused and energized, like I'll pay, like I don't care what the price is, just give it to me. So again, whatever the product is, focus on learning what the coach or the customer, what their why is and what their needs are, and then go into what you're trying to solve that problem for them. Okay, let's see what else. Another awesome way to build your team is, what I like to do is I have my challenge group, and then I use those challenge groups, and I'll do like, the little mini challenges. I did like a squat day challenge. I did, who can post the most pictures of them doing a squat one day, little things like that. But I try and get as much engagement in the challenge groups because I want to see who's really into it. I want to see who's going to really take the business or take that challenge and run with it. And then from there, after that challenge group's over, I do have an accountability group that I put everybody into. But I reach out to those coaches and say, you did an amazing job in this group. Would this be something that you'd be interested in? So don't feel like it's over once the challenge group is over. Like, use that as an opportunity to keep the conversation going and see if you can, if it's something that's a good fit for them to be a coach and join your team. And it doesn't have to be like, hey, you join the challenge group, like sign up as a coach. Like, let them love and fall in love with the product before maybe you rush into just the close of being a coach. Because again, someone that loves the product and loves what it does, loves what the product does for them and solves that problem, it doesn't matter what the price is, they're gonna just keep coming back because it's proven to them that it solved whatever problem is that they have. Okay, let's see. I talked about sharing how Beachbody's helped you. Okay, so like that could be something, and I don't try and do these a lot, but again, I do it as it comes up naturally. Like for me, just recently, I had paid off my car, and I was like, you know what, those extra payments of Beachbody coming in every week, like that helped me over time, like quicker, even though it wasn't like just from those few months, it still was extra money that I could put towards paying off something or paying for groceries that week, whatever it is. So I try not to do too many of those, but for some people that might be like spark an interest. But I feel like those, and I talked to Sam about this before, it's kind of for the people that are like, oh, is this a get rich quick thing? Which I always try and tell my coaches, like even before they're a coach, I'm like, listen, it isn't an overnight thing, so don't expect your bank account to like skyrocket like the next week. And I always try and lead with that because then it also guarantees, not guarantees, but it also lets them know, like, listen, it's not going to be a quick fix thing. Like, it's an overtime, gradual process of building, over time. So another big thing for recruiting and team building. So I kind of just recently decided to do this, but I'm building up my social media. So I already do it through blogging and through Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, but I've decided to grow my YouTube channel. So I don't know how comfortable you guys all are on YouTube, but one of the things that I've decided to do now is for 5 days out of the week, so 5 out of 7 days of the week, I'm going to be posting YouTube videos, not just to my group, but also on my YouTube channel. So it'll be health tips, it could be recipes, it could be meat, like cooking breakfast in the kitchen. But I'm doing it for 2 reasons. The first reason is I want to create an archive for my coaches. So if they have questions, I want to be able to explain to them in depth, like not just, hey, this is the answer, like quick, 1 or 2 sentence response to what they're asking me. I want to be able to say, listen, here's the information, and I'm putting everything into that response of what the question is that they're coming to me for. I'm sure you guys all know everything's pretty much super repetitive. So we get a lot of the same questions over and over again. So as I'm getting questions now that are coming into me from my coaches, I'm doing videos. So like today I got a question and it was, what can I do, to move the business forward? And I did a video and it was like a 3-minute video. So I try and keep it between 3 and 5 minutes, just so it's not too lengthy. And I get my point across, but I'm giving them like the full answer that I would want to give if they were face to face with me. And then the second reason is anyone that's like looking on YouTube, they could be looking at like a juicing video, they could be looking at a fitness video. I wouldn't mind to like come across and like populate through those. So definitely make sure like you're tagging those videos, fitness and health and like anything that you can think of, because that's gonna start to create, again, the compound effect over time. It's gonna build up for you and people can find you out as well. And then my last thing that I have is continually be planting seeds and just sharing why you're doing it. We all have our why. I have more than one why. I have multiple reasons why I'm doing this business. And, constantly be talking to your coaches and know what your coach's why is. Because once you know that, we're all going to go through a time and we're like, oh my gosh, it's slow and it's just, it gets frustrating, right? So you should know what their why is and be able to be that support system for them. I have a coach and she was like bummed out because she couldn't like get through a workout, or she wasn't happy with it. And I was like, listen, you did it. Like, you did the workout. That's better than someone else sitting on their couch, like eating chips. So, for me, I try and have the relationship with my coaches and just know what their why is and just be in contact with them, because that'll just create a nice, line of communication and just feel, not that you're always going to be there, like every, 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, but they'll feel comfortable coming to you and, you're there for them and they know that they're on the right team. So I think that was all the notes that I had.
I took so many notes from everything that you just said. Basically, one note per bullet that you said.
Good.
So I have like 4 things. I wrote down a lot, but 4 of them I starred with like 5 stars next to them that I took away. So for me, four things that I love that you said. The very first one is have the mindset to succeed. I have like so many coaches, and even myself sometimes, that they're like, I hope I hit Success Club 5 this month, or I hope that I get to Emerald in my first month. Mm-hmm. And like one thing about Sandi is like, she never says hope. She's like, I will be Emerald in this week, or, I will be number 1 coach. She said that to me. And so I truly believe she'll get there. So put those goals out there, tell yourself that you will achieve them, and act as if there's no other way. Have that mindset where you will succeed no matter what. You'll face objections still, but having that strong mindset of being successful will help you get over that, along with your why. Love that. 10X rule, that doesn't have a star, but that's just like, if you haven't heard that before, that's golden. Always reach out to more people than you want to actually have commit. The next thing though was figure out, so consistency, not only with your business, because we all know consistency with inviting and following up is key, but consistency with your story. Talk about those little wins. Talk about being, your struggles even. Just share that you're still doing this journey, because the second that you stop talking about health and fitness and your workouts and coaching, people are going to think you fell off. And even if you didn't, it'll be so much harder to get back on track. And right along with that, when you're talking about products, I see a lot of coaches, not necessarily on our team, but I see so many comparison charts that are posted on Facebook. And I see that and I'm like, okay, it's helpful to know how Shakeology compares to Body by Vi or, what Herbalife maybe. But like, you're not saying why do you love Shakeology? What is it doing for you? What problem does it solve for you? And also when you're reaching out to people, make sure that you know what their problem is. Like, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person or the wrong thing to the right person. So like Sandi was mentioning, if she is talking to someone and she starts pitching Shakeology and talks about those discounts and everything, but really her problem is that she doesn't have time to squeeze it in, that discount will go up right up and over her head. She won't even care. But if Sandi was like, well, what problem do you have? And she says, I don't have the time, then she knows to focus on that. So, and same with coaching. When you pitch coaching, if someone says, I'm just let me think it over. If you at that point are like, okay, take your time, but just know that it really just takes 1 hour each day so you won't feel too overwhelmed. They could be thinking that not at all about time commitment, but that they're not ready for this fitness wise. So you saying time commitment would be totally off base. Whereas you ask like, what's holding you up about coaching? And they say they don't feel fit enough, you can target that. So really knowing who you're talking to and sharing how you would combat that as yourself, not like a canned photo or a canned response. And then the last one is know your coach's why and remind them. I think that's so important because for clients, it's kind of easy. Like they want to get fit, they want to be healthy for some reason. But with team building, there's so many times where coaches hear no, get rejected, a coach quits on their team. One reason or another, they're down on themselves. And if you can remember the why they joined, why they were so passionate in the beginning, and then remind them that, yeah, you did your workout. You're one day closer to being at your goals. But you reached out to 10 people and 9 didn't respond, which is better than 10 saying no, So like find those reasons why what they're doing is still helping them reach their goals. And then I have some questions based off of my notes, but does anyone else have like takeaways? Did you find it helpful? Do you have questions? You can unmute yourself or use the chat box, whichever you prefer. I know there's got to be one question. I'll check out our team page as well.
I'll ask one.
Okay.
What do you initially say to people when you're inviting to coaching? Like, are you always forming them? Or do you send out like random cold invites?
So like on Instagram, because I'm like different hashtags and stuff, some people like I'll look at their page and I'll like kind of try and look at that before I reach out and like start the conversation so I know kind of who I'm talking to. If it's someone that clearly is like a bunch of Pilates pictures or yoga pictures, then I do reach out and be like, and I'll say, hey, it seems like this would be a great opportunity and aligned with what you're already doing. I'd love to talk to you more about what I do. And then kind of start the conversation like that. And then some people I reach out and I'm like, hey, I love all your fitness posts. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. I'm like, hey, I love all your fitness posts. I love your page. And I'm like, what did I say? And I always, this might be really bad, but I always go to the point of on Instagram until like they won't let me send any more messages. So like, okay, so I just did a couple and I just said, hey girl, love your page and your posts. What do you do? So like, I just, I led with that versus like coaching. We just like asked them, hey, what do you do?
Okay.
One of my questions is actually semi-related to that. For those that you form instead, so like the what do you do, how long do you form them before inviting to a group or to coaching?
Is that for me or for everybody?
For you.
Oh, sorry. How long do I form? Well, I kind of see how the conversation goes. Like for me, I talked to someone today and how did it go? It was like, she was asking me about like, hey, so like, what do you do? And I was telling her, and then I was like, the conversation started like, hey, where do you live? I think she might have asked me. I was like, well, I live in Miami. Oh, because we were talking about my wedding pictures. She's like, oh, like, do you model? I was like, no. But I was just saying, like telling her I live in Miami, and she's like, oh, I actually am from Philly, but like that's where I moved here from. So like I try and find some type of common ground to talk to them about and then go from there. But I mean, it's kind of like, again, it's just whatever I feel natural, like just, the conversation, how it goes. So if it's like a dead silence and there's nothing, like we've just stopped talking, then I'll be like, so, and I'll just pick up from, hey, I'd love to talk to you about, there's an opportunity. I see that you're already doing X, Y, and Z on your page. But it's really like just natural conversation. And then that's kind of just how I lead into it. And it's not really like amount of time that I do it. It's just kind of what is natural in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
like how you would, like, if we were talking face to face, like just back and forth, and then how you transition from one topic to another.
That's a good way to put it, because like if you were face to face, imagine walking up to someone and just being like, hey, do you want to join a challenge group?
Exactly.
You know, like people would be like, some people would probably be like, well, what is it?
Exactly.
And people would be like, are you talking to me? And then walk, you know?
Right. And I think that's why, because like I do try and like, I mean, I talk to everybody about it. I'm out at the bar, like my husband and I are having date night, and I'm talking to like the waitress about it, you know, and it's, I feel like it's a lot of natural conversation for me just on a daily basis that like some people, like, again, if I see that their pictures and stuff are so much about fitness and nutrition and health, then I'll just say, hey, there's this awesome opportunity. I think it would be great. But I don't say what it is up front. Like, I'm not like, hey, I'm a beach body coach. Mm-hmm. I never lead with that. I always try and like start a conversation back and forth before I really go into it.
Yeah. I see a question in the chat. My question is, what is the best way to reach out to people? It's out of my comfort zone to do so.
So that's hard for me because I feel like I can talk to a wall. But again, so I'll tell you this, the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get with it. So I would say challenge yourself like once a day to start a conversation with somebody. And look, these people don't know us. Like if I message someone right now and I see them out on the street, they have no idea who I am. So there's two things with that. Starting the conversation to get to know them. And also, listen, if it doesn't work out, like you don't even know that person, right? Mm-hmm. So don't be scared in reaching out to someone because there's only something to gain. There's nothing to lose. So I would say challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone because I feel like this whole business is about stepping outside our comfort zone. We're sharing very personal information with people. We're sharing like, you know, not necessarily our weight, what it says on the scale, but we're sharing like, listen, I want to lose this much. We talk about money, we talk about our bodies, we talk about irregularity, like we talk about, you know, some stuff here, you know? So I would say challenge yourself maybe once a day. If your goal is to reach, you know, 5 coaches a day to have a conversation, I would say make one of those conversations, reaching out to somebody that makes you uncomfortable, because once you start getting uncomfortable, it'll start to feel more natural for you.
Yeah. And so along with that, what is the best way what is the preferred way for you to reach out to people? Would you say Instagram or Facebook or something?
I do. Again, I go on Instagram until they stop me. Like I go on like a rampage, like every day. I'm like, like I just go until they block me, or not block. They don't block me. Like Instagram stops me. But so that is one form that I feel like I can do a lot in a little amount of time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say that's my like main form of reaching out. But I also use Facebook a lot and post. And again, I try and get not like crazy personal, but I do try and share what my story is and people on my team and the successes that we've had. And even like another big thing that I've seen just recently is when I posts that are super relatable. Like I did one yesterday and it was about like not comparing our chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. And it got really, really good feedback because I mean, we can all relate to that. It's like how many times we see someone on Facebook or Instagram, we're like, whoa, those vacation pictures look awesome, or you know, where they live looks awesome, but like it's Instagram. It's not real life, you know, it's like a fake world. So I think when you talk to someone like real life, real deal, like, you know, about anything, about how it can be hard to lose weight, about how you know, having accountability, you know, we all need that. Like the more real you get, I think the more it hits home with somebody.
Mm-hmm. And Alan was saying, he said, always start with people in your circle, family, friends, coworkers, people you know.
Yeah. So that's what I did. And I feel like I'm still doing that because like my mom even, like I've been doing this now for a few months and like she's going to sign up in like 2 weeks. So, you know, I never push something on someone. Like I never am like, you have to do this. Like I see the value and the opportunity in it. Like my husband, he's like, Sandi, you're obsessed with, and I'm like, that's correct. Like I love it so much that if someone can't see what I see in it, honestly, I don't want them on my team because like I shouldn't have to be like I'm here to be their cheerleader and like, listen, like, let's do this together. But if I have to like drag you along and be like, please let me show you the value of this, then honestly, I don't want that person on my team because they don't have the same passion that I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ellen also said, if you start sharing on social media, then people will start asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's another big thing I tell my coaches. I'm like, just share. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be this long post about, you know, your transformation, this and that. Like, those are awesome. But like, just post. Like, again, whatever comes natural and feels authentic to you. It doesn't have to be a whole long, you know, chapter of a book. Like, it can be 2 sentences. And just do it. Like, that's the thing. You just got to do it.
And those long, mushy posts don't always get the best engagement either, because
exactly.
People don't want to read on social media.
Right.
They look at the photo. Right. So post a photo, quick text of how you're feeling, how it made you feel, your results, whatever. Yeah.
I know for me, like, whenever I have to read anything long, I'm like, I'll read the first, like, couple sentences and then I'm done.
Exactly. That's why one of the tips from our Fit Boss Academy is to start, like, the very first words needs to be like, wow, or come on, guys, or oh my God, you know, like something that will make them read at least the first sentence.
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah. Another question from Nikki. On Instagram, do you direct message people or do you invite them over to Facebook?
So I direct message first on Instagram, and then I'll also like a couple of their pictures. Like, again, I actually, like, I'll click on their profile, and I'll check out their first, like, 3 or 4 lines of their pictures, just to get an idea of, like, who I'm talking to. And then I'll message them. And then once the conversation's going, then I'll say, hey, I'm on Facebook. I'd love to show you a little bit more of what I do. Let me add you on Facebook. Let me get you your name or whatever on Facebook.
Brittany says, I'm new to this, but I have gotten over 10 direct messages in regards to my post. That's awesome.
What did she say?
She got 10 direct messages in regards to her post.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So do you ever get people messaging you first on either platform?
I have on Facebook. I haven't yet on Instagram. I think because I'm just like a maniac on Instagram. But Facebook, I have gotten people that have reached out. Like, one of my awesome coaches, she reached out to me from a post that I did. And let me think. I feel like a lot, like, I do more reaching out through messaging on Instagram, and I do a lot of, like, pictures and, like, posting and stuff on Facebook as well. But I feel like I get more feedback from Facebook, but then me more engaging and reaching out to people, messaging them on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, because I think a lot of newer coaches especially, I don't know if they expect this or more so want this to happen, but they want people to reach out to them. And it's so much. I
don't ever think anyone's going to reach out to me. Like, oh my God, if you saw my, like, so I'm a hand, like, I like to write things down. So, I'll show you my calendar. So, like, okay, so what I do in my calendar, you guys can see that. So I circle and highlight my coaches, like, that I get from that day. And then I have another page of my potential coaches. So these are all people that I've already added into the group, into Sneak Peek into Coaching, have already had a conversation with, and have already talked to about you can see it.
Sandi, do you want to take photos of that maybe? And then
yeah, that's fine. I can do that. So what I do, I have my planner. The way that it's set up, it's like the day planner. So it's like every day. And I write in there like, okay, 1 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock phone call, whatever. But then it's got like lines for the day. And what I do is I write down like, talk to so-and-so about coaching. Coach X is talking to Coach Y about joining, like, so I'll write down the day, like, because I'm not going to, like, if I try and remember Monday and it's Thursday, forget about it. So I try and just take notes every day about, like, what I need to remember and just, like, go back to.
Okay. Yeah, because with having that many conversations,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can keep track of that. Nice. I had one question about, let's see, about your YouTube, because you mentioned that you were going to do coach videos and then also healthy recipes and stuff like that. Are you doing that both on the same YouTube channel, or will you have one for your team and one for potential clients to view your stuff?
So yeah, I'm gonna just do it on the same channel, because I want to, like, again, for me, like, it's just gonna be where I can say, like, people that are gonna want to be coaching, I want them to see, like, this is the content that I'm helping my coaches with, and then my coaches, I want them to see, like, this is what I'm doing to attract other people. So I think they'll both kind of benefit each other.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, now I'm not sure if you can answer this, but there was a message in the team page, and let's see. So Carolyn says she's a therapist in a rural area. She runs into some of her patients at the grocery store and other places, and it's against her code of ethics to be friends with any patients on Facebook. And so she's nervous about having friends on Facebook, or like even their family friends, close friends of patients, and what they might see. So do you have any tips on that, or are there any other, like, therapists or doctors in the same scenario on the call that runs into that?
I wonder if she created a like page, would that be different? I wonder.
Yeah, so like pages are all about people have to go there. So she could just invite her non-patients to that page.
Right, because you know what I mean, like, for that, they would have to engage with her.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would work, but.
My tip would just be to expand your network. I don't know if Carolyn is on the call. I can't see. Mine would just be like, if you can't talk to your current family and friends about it, expand that network, reach out to people, go on Instagram, go on blogs, go on Pinterest. Like, that's part of our job anyways. But the fact that you, like, my sister joined, she had just joined Facebook, so she had 0 friends, and so that's all she had to do, so that would be my advice. Just don't even think about them. If you're that worried about them, just find new people. Melissa says, Caroline, you could use the new app for this instead of having them in the Facebook group. Yeah, so if you have new challengers and clients, does everyone know about the new app? Nikki, you're in the app. So there's a new challenger app that is just for challengers and challenge groups, and it's pretty cool. It's just like Facebook. Like, you can post, comment. There are a few things that you can't do, like only the host can post videos, which kind of stinks if there's more than one coach in there. For some reason, my files tab isn't working. It might just be mine. But it's pretty cool. And so I think this is great for people who maybe don't want to connect on Facebook, but also, I don't know if you run into this, Sandi, but I've ran into a lot of people on Instagram that don't have Facebook.
Yes.
So, this is like a perfect way where you can still coach them in the app, but not be friends on Facebook.
I literally just talked to a woman before the call, and she's like, I don't have a Facebook, but my kid, the girl from Philly, that was like, hey, like, I would love to learn more, but I don't have a Facebook. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was my response too. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So just a quick note on that, because I've been getting a lot of questions. On the app, if you use the app on your phone, that is only for participants. So to access any type of group, you have to create your own as a coach or be invited. So if you just open up the app, you're not going to see any groups unless your coach invited one. So to create your own group, you have to go to, I think it's My Challenger Tracker app. Just type in that in Google and the right one will come up, or I'll post it in the recording links. But that is where only through a website is where you can actually create the group and then post as a coach. And then the actual app is just for clients or you to act as a client in it. So, all right. Any last questions? I'll refresh the Facebook page quickly. Okay, I don't see any more. Chat is empty.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Sandi, how do you track your relationships? I know you said you have, you handwrite a lot of stuff, but you talk to so many people a day. After you sign someone up with a challenge pack, I guess this is a question in general for all coaches. Like, how do you know sort of where they are, and when they're done with a challenge group, like how often do you follow up with them, and do you have a list of people, and like how often you follow up with them, or after they complete a challenge, do you sort of say, here, join this group, participate if you want, and then sort of move on to look for new people?
So I'm always looking, I'm always prospecting. Like I told Sam, I had to get organized because every day for the entire month I was prospecting and trying to get people for my challenge packs and just everything. And I was like, oh my God, there's gotta be a better way. So a couple things. And the first thing is, this is advice is what Sam gave me. I broke my month down into the first part of the month being that I was going to focus on just hitting Success Club. And for me, it's non-negotiable for Success Club 10. So I always hit that. And now the second part of the month, I go for, that's what I'm really promoting my coaches. But in terms of keeping track with them, again, I'm a pen to paper person. I've tried to do it on an app, but as much as I love technology, I just love writing it down and highlighting and circling and all that. So that keeps me organized in my calendar that I have. But it's a list of, so I have a list of potential coaches, and then every day I write down who's joined as a challenge pack, or it could be anything from challenge pack to this coach told me that they were talking to someone who may join. So just to kind of remind me to go back to that. In terms of follow up for people that have gone through a challenge group, as soon as it ends, then I message everyone individually and I just say, hey, you did such a great job. So I follow up with them, and then I tell them it's a free accountability group. They don't have to do anything in there except they see me post what I ate for dinner that night, or, what else? I post everything in there. Workouts. I use, if you guys go into the homepage of Beachbody, there's that top tab, and it's health, fitness. There's one for parenting. There's one for motivation. And I'll pick one a day. I did one, there was one on meditation. I did one on how to get, I don't have any kids yet, but I posted something on how to get your kids moving and motivated and cooking healthy with you in the kitchen. So just a broad range, because you're gonna have men and women and students and moms, just a broad range. So I post a little bit for everybody in there. And the people that I reach out to once it's completed, the challenge group, then I see who has the interest. I'll say, you did such an amazing job in the group. How would you feel about learning more about what I do running these challenge groups? That was a lot of information, sorry.
It's good to know though. And Emily, there's so many coaches on YouTube that share exactly what they do. And everyone is so different. And I can show you quickly what I do, because I'm very much Excel based. And so for me, I can't do pen and paper. So this is, I have a 2-step process. One, this is my relationship tracker. And so I track all of my new contacts. If you see an @ sign, there are, this one right here, that's from Instagram. Everyone else are friends from Facebook that I've added. From there, I move them over to new engagements. So I like their posts, I comment on their posts. I then start a conversation with them, totally non-Beachbody related. And then I invite them to either a challenge group or coaching invite, one of the two. from there, once I invite them, I go to my follow-up list, and the top half is this week. So who told me that they were going to order this week, or who did I just invite today and I want to follow up with them on Saturday, for example. So this is like, who do I need to remember? Because for me, I will not remember if it's not written down. And so I write them down here. And then a lot of times I hear no, which is why my lists down here are so huge. My backup list, this is like everyone who told me no, that I keep everyone on my list. So these are all people who told me no in the past for some reason. And you can see I put some little notes against their name if they tell me a reason. So eventually I'll reach back out to them. Or this girl told me, I actually talked to her in November and she said in March she would be ready. So it's coming up. Some people have she's traveling until January of 2017. So I'll reach out to her then. So this is just easier for me, just so I can constantly see it. The red is just people who seemed really interested. Unfortunately, a lot of them turned back to black. Like this girl was going to order 2 weeks ago, and she was like so excited and she fell off the face of the earth. The last thing is 10 in play. And I think as a newer coach, it's fine to have 5 in play. But what this is you always want to have 5 or 10 people that say they're going to purchase. So these are not invites. These are people where you've already sent the link and you're waiting for them to order. And so I can actually move a couple more of these people over. So these are the people, because you, kind of like Sandi was saying, you always want to have a well full of people. You don't want to have the well run dry. And so if you're at least focusing on a few people that are planning to order, and then obviously continue to invite and follow up, and hopefully more names will get over here. But these are just the people that I'm focusing on so that I remember to reach out to them, see if they ordered, see what the hang up is if they haven't ordered yet, and kind of go from there. I used to track a lot more, like all of my sneak peek participants. Pink at one point meant something. She was probably interested at one point. So that's what I do. For me, Excel works. Pen and paper works really great. Asana is an app that you can look into. Asana and Streak are both really good apps that I've been told. Amber says, so at the end of the week, you'll move people to the bottom of the list and start fresh. So at the end of the week, so tomorrow's Friday, perfect example. I'll share my screen just because I'm visual. So tomorrow's Friday. I'm going to reach out to all of these people tomorrow and follow up with them. If they say, and it's the end of the month. So if they say, not right now, then depending on how stern they were with me or what their reason was, I'll move them out to March or April or later. Some of these people said like at the end of the month, which is why I have later this month. So I'm going to reach out to all of these people also probably this weekend. But yeah, I just keep moving people around. So when people tell me no, I'm always tracking them somewhere. This backup list is really just kind of a list where they didn't really tell me a date and they weren't really too responsive with me. So I didn't feel like I needed to keep on top of them as much as I was. And some of these people I know that other coaches are already working with, so I can remove them now. Does that answer your question? I keep everyone, I just move them around. Marlinda says, can you share the first spreadsheet on the team page? The first spreadsheet, oh, the relationship tracker? Is that what you meant?
The first one that you shared before the follow-up list.
Okay. Yeah, that was with like the new contacts, engagements.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can share that.
Okay.
And that's something new that I started because I need to be organized to be sane. And for me, I was like adding so many people on Facebook and friending or commenting on people's stuff on Instagram. And I wasn't following up with them because I didn't even know they were a new friend. And it didn't hit me until my twin sister signed up as a coach. And she constantly was like, because, we don't want to steal any clients or anything. So she was always like, have you talked to this person or this person? And so I do a quick search, and I noticed that they were a friend that I added in 2015, like January of 2015, and I never even sent a hello message. It was just a random friend that I forgot about. And I was like, holy crap, there's so many people that just slipped under the radar that I just, hopefully they're watching my posts, but like I just lost track of them. So that's the reason why I'm now focused so much on tracking that stuff.
Did you in the past do a video showing kind of how you do this? Because I feel like I've seen this before, and I was trying to find it today, and I couldn't find it.
Yes, it's on the Team Supercharged WordPress site. So I'll post the link to that in the comments.
Okay, because this is something that really has kind of held me back a lot, because I don't want to go add a bunch of people and do what you just said, like not even follow up or do anything with them because I can't keep track of them.
Yeah.
So I haven't really found a system, Paper or Excel or any other program that's really worked for me yet. So
this works well for me. Obviously, actually, for anyone who wants to consider doing this as your own, I consider doing it, or I would suggest doing it in a Google spreadsheet so that you can do it on the go. Because Excel, I could move this over, but Excel, you can't use on your phone. So like when I randomly find someone that I really think I would vibe really well with, I'll just like take a screenshot of them, their Instagram or their Facebook, and then I'll have to remember to come add them to my list. Whereas a Google spreadsheet, you can do it right on the spot. But yeah, it's like, I don't want to say pointless, but it's almost pointless to add people if you don't know you're adding them, and you don't know that you need to reach out to them.
I have another question for Sandi.
Okay.
So I know that we kind of talk about how other coaches do this, but how do you show like personal trainers or people who do like CrossFit or yoga instructors or whatever own their own gym? Like, how do you show them the value in Beachbody and get them to want to coach?
So I know that I listened to one of the coach calls. I think it was on this with Sam actually, and there was one of the girls that had said she owned a gym, and she was like, I was putting all my time and effort and money into like a brick and mortar place, and she's like, I really, Beachbody gave me the opportunity to have more freedom. So I think for someone that, and also because I talked to a few people that are in Pilates and yoga, what I can say to them, it's another way for them to offer something to their clients when they're not with them. So if they're, training with them for maybe like an hour a day, like what happens to those other 23 hours? Like, yeah, they're sleeping some of that time, but like, what are they eating? How much are they eating? Like, we can solve that problem for them with like our challenge packs and, those other workouts and stuff. Like I know there's a lot of trainers that they only may train that specific person maybe 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever the schedule is. But aside from, just the workouts as another option, there's the portion control containers, the shakes, obviously. So it's just another element to them to add into their, themselves as a package.
Okay. Yeah, because I know some of my coaches were like, I found people on Instagram that aren't doing coaching, but what they're doing at the gym is working for them, and I don't know how to say, hey, try this.
Like, I know for me personally, like when I was doing my shedding for the wedding, I was like, I have my personal trainer and I'm doing 21 Day Fit. So like I would work out with him 2 days a week, but the days that I wasn't, I was doing my own thing at home. So like just me specifically, like I was, like it's expensive, especially in Miami. It's expensive to have a trainer. So like with this, I know I'm getting like a big bundle of stuff for what I'd be paying for like 2 sessions with my trainer. It's just more affordable. And if from the trainer's perspective, it's something else that can add value to like what they're doing for the clients.
Okay.
And also with that, and you may have mentioned this, but as a trainer, you can only train a certain number of people each day. So financially, you're capped. Like even if you work all 8 hours, that's only 8 hours times however much you charge per hour. That's all you can make in a day, whereas Beachbody, you could make a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I have a question kind of going off of that. Because kind of like what Car said, I know I have a lot of girls too that are like, how do I not necessarily get them to see that they can provide this outside of training, but more how do they like pitch coaching to them, but also say, like, have them sign up with the products also, not just sign up as a coach, but sign up as a coach with like a program in Shakeology. Like to people that like are already doing all of this stuff, like how do you say, you would be so great at this, and also like to experience it themselves, like the programs.
Like for a trainer, or what do you mean?
For like both, like they're always like, I want to talk to this person, but they are already doing their own thing. So how do I say, like, you'd be an amazing coach because you're already doing the things that coaches do, but now I want you to buy something also. You know, like to experience Shakeology, like have them purchase a challenge pack and sign up at the same time so that they're experiencing the products to share with other people as a coach.
So like what you're saying is like at the same time, right? Like you're saying like,
right. Like they don't want to be like too pitchy with like sounding salesy. Like you would be great at this, but I also want you to buy something basically.
Right. So I think like kind of what I was saying before is I always want someone to love it as much as I do. So I never like, if I'm going in and it's like, but I want you to do this and then I want you to do this, like jab, you know, it's like, get them to love it first and then they're going to want to do it on their own. So I think even if they sign up with a challenge pack first and that they at least try it and they understand that they like it and they know how the program works and then they can like share that with other people, then they're going to come back again. Like you don't necessarily need to get the challenge pack and the coach at the same time. Like if it's someone that's a little bit hesitant with it, let them try it, experience it, and then from there, like, ask them, how are you liking it? How are you liking the products? How are you liking the shakes? Try this recipe. So like that can get them started with at least on the program so they see what it is and then go into doing so amazing with this, how I like it, and then have them go from coaching from there.
Okay.
And I think if you have, at least for me, when I have a like someone that does CrossFit, for example, and I want them to coach, I treat them the same as any other person. So I ask what their fitness goals are. I ask if they're happy. Sorry. I ask if they're happy with the results they're seeing from CrossFit. And then I ask them like, okay, great. So what types of exercise would you be looking for? Do you want something similar to CrossFit, or are you more interested in doing yoga for your off days or something? You know, I'll like still go do like yoga or lifting or kickboxing or dancing. And I give them all of that. And then especially for people who do CrossFit or are trainers, I say that this is a lifestyle. You do not have to just do Beachbody products. Integrate them with what you're already doing.
So actually my coach, one of my coaches is on here, Steve, and he is a CrossFit trainer. He just put a comment in here. He said, as a CrossFit coach and personal trainer, I use Beachbody to enhance my training business. I have a lot of people that need a lot less intimidating way to step into fitness.
There you go. Steve, you should use that to your advantage because I think so many people that do CrossFit, like that's a huge untapped market. You have to know how to talk to them and how to like know, kind of like Sandi was saying, you have to know what their problems are and what they're struggling with. And I feel like that would be a really good market to break into for Beachbody.
I think it's intimidating for us too because like they're so jacked and you're like, okay, so what am I going to say to them that they're like, well, what I'm doing is already working for me, you know?
Right. I had a coach that joined and she was like super fit and like superwoman. Like she is just like rockin' body, amazing. And like I knew her from high school and she was like, this is awesome for me to be able to help people because they already see, because I think a lot of people who aren't at like in their mind where they want to be, like I'm not at my goal weight yet or I'm not there, they kind of get intimidated first. And I'm like, that's the point. Like it's part of the journey. It's not like being where you need to be. So they think it's easier for someone who's already like there. But for her, it's like people are intimidated because they're like, well, do I like reach out to this person? Like, how do I go about it? So it's almost even more intimidating that way. But for her, she was like, I can help people in other ways than just like lifting weights in the gym. Like this is another element that I can give to them to help them in their fitness, in their nutrition, in their diet. So it's just like another added element.
Yeah, that's true.
Bree says, I think if people knew how amazing Shago is, more and more people would want to bring that into their life and their fitness journey. Because yes, you may be super fit, but the benefits of how amazing it makes you feel is so worth bringing into any mix. I agree. And I think the way you do that is exactly what Sandi was saying, and being more personal with it. So talk about how you fit it into your lifestyle, how you fit it into your budget, the specific benefits that you see. It doesn't have to be curbing craving, energy, and digestion like it claims. It can be like Brittany Sanders. I don't think she's on here, but she's a new coach, and she was saying how she's slept through the night 2 nights in a row when she started drinking Shakeology. And so she's like, sleep. No one tells you about the sleep, but I've slept better than I have ever, So be personal. Share how Shakeology helps you versus like comparison charts. I don't know why I'm going to that right now, but I must have seen it.
Another thing that I had someone I was talking to them about yesterday was the price. And of course, we always get the price rejection. I was like, okay, how much do you spend at lunch? Like you work in an office, how much do you spend at lunch? She's like, well, I definitely don't spend $97. And I was like, okay, let's do the math here. I was like, in one lunch, you spend $10. 5 times a week, that's $50. Times 4. Pretty sure Shakeology is at 97 and you're at like 200. So she was like, oh. So, I think it's just getting them to understand like $97 isn't $97 for one time. It's going to be a whole month for you. And it's any meal. Like my husband was traveling 2 days ago and I had it for dinner. Like today I had it for lunch. Like it's just, I work it into my schedule. I'm never like, it has to be at breakfast or lunch or dinner or whatever. Like it's just wherever the day takes me and whatever the quickest meal that I need, that's my go-to.
So Alana, we'll have this one last question, then we can wrap up. Alana says, what if someone has a shake that they love, but they need an exercise DVD at home? What do you do?
But they need a what?
They don't want Shakeology, but they want to work out. Do you let that fly, or do you get them set up with a challenge pack? And if so, how?
I mean, I would go for the challenge pack only because, again, I would make the conversation about yes, you want this, you want the, Brazilian butt lift, or you want the, PIO or whatever it is. But again, talk to them about what are they doing every day? Like, what does their schedule look like? And again, it could be anything from fitting it in. It could be all the other benefits that we just talked about, like digestion, having more energy, all these things. And I would even say, try it out. If you don't like it from there, then we'll go, but at least try it so you know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Carl Deichler swears by that. Granted, he's not a coach, but he's always saying share the money back guarantee. Like if people hate it, then they can send it back. So that's something you can do. And for the price objection, that works really well.
Right. I would always say, like I said, I'm such a big fan of it that I'm like, what are you, crazy not to be doing this? And then the other aspect of it too is in terms of being a coach, there's so many benefits outside of what we do for ourselves and our bodies, just the amazing relationships that we get to make and the motivation and just being around an atmosphere. I talk about this all the time. The world is so negative, and you walk outside and you read the newspaper, you're at the airport, you see the TV, it's all these negative things going on. But I feel like this is a place you come to, and I'm like, I don't want to hear any negativity. It's everyone just sharing positive, what's going on in their lives. And it's just, how amazing is that to wake up every day and you have this core group of people that is just fighting for you and this journey that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get that a lot of places these days.
All right. Well, we've gone a little bit over than we usually do. So thank you, Sandi, so much for your tips and answering all the questions. And thank you all for hopping on the call. I'll post the recording probably tomorrow morning because it's past my bedtime.
Okay, sounds good. Good night,
All right.
everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.